Hello and welcome back to Inside Quotes, the show where my brother and I rewatch, review, and relive the staples of our childhood. I am your host, Jeremy. This is episode 122, and with me today is my older brother, Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome back to our show.
Quack, quack, everybody. Welcome back to our show. Not the show, our show.
It's not just mine and your show. It's our show.
Belongs to everybody.
With our listeners, too. Mm-hmm. And it can be your show, too, if you join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/InsideQuotes.
That's it.
Well, Jeremy, today we are covering a new Pixar movie. Not a new one, but another Pixar movie.
We're very slow with our Pixar movies.
I would say we are covering the Pixar movies in the most random order that I could possibly think of.
Yeah.
But, we have not stuck to we'll do the Toy Story movies or the Cars, franchise. We've just jumped around. We did we did Onward. We did Coco. We did Monsters, Inc.
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Is there another one? Okay, and then today, Jeremy, it's your turn. What are we covering?
WALL-E.
Oh, that was a good.
Thank you.
Good
mediocre impression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, WALL-E. One of the most pivotal moments for Pixar, if you will.
Could make an argument for that.
Came out in 2008. Jonathan, where were you in 2008?
Oh, I was going to school at Brooks D. Bartolo Collegiate High School.
Okay. Shout out. Fellow Phenai.
Shout out to my Phenai. Actually, I'm not a fellow Phenai. I didn't graduate from there. I transferred.
Which is weird. I did. But you went there longer than I did.
Mm-hmm. That is weird. Okay. In 2008, I did not go see this movie in theaters.
Right.
But I was in high school, I guess sophomore year around that time.
Okay.
And I don't think you saw this one either.
Right.
Okay.
I remember seeing this movie on DVD at my friend Logan's house.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Logan on the Journey to the Center of the Earth episode from year one.
Long time ago.
Very long time ago. I actually talked to him today. Oh yeah, I was at his house and then he pulled out this DVD out of nowhere. And I was appalled at it officially because it was a paper cover or case, paper case. And we have paper cases here and there. We got C Spot Run and Zeus and Roxanne, very deep cuts on our shelf. But
oh yeah,
this one
the ones
was
with
a gross,
the clasp,
the nice clasps. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this one wasn't that. It was a special it was already falling apart. If you gave it to your kids, it was flimsy paper.
It's for recycled materials.
Yeah,
it was made out of.
Nah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Mm.
Anyways, we watched it on his slim PS2.
Okay.
And I watched it on the floor at his house, and it was good memory. And I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a little weird. I could tell I was watching something different.
Yeah.
Different than the normal Pixar at the time, but I didn't really pay attention.
Yeah. I felt the same way. Now that you mention that, I do think that was the first time I saw it. Was maybe he came over to our house and you borrowed it or something. I do kind of remember that case.
We may have watched it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was what I remember at the time was a lot of people that did go see it kind of complained about it a little bit because there wasn't a lot of dialogue. They either hated it or they were it was good, but it was it wasn't like you said, it was different.
Yeah.
And so when I watched it, I thought it was good, but then I didn't really think about it too much, after that.
Yeah.
I didn't really rewatch it again for a while.
And that era of Pixar movie really grows and gets you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more you watch it, the better it gets.
Yeah,
Unlike Toy Story.
You keep hating on Toy Story. We will get to it at
We
some
could get
point.
to it this year if we want. Let's do it. I'm ready.
I feel like I'm just like dead set to defend it against
That's
whatever
okay.
bad things you have to say.
I'm just a
But
contrarian a little bit, but
mhm.
I do love it. But it does kind of exhaust me sometimes.
Mm.
There's no way anywhere near the best
Mhm.
Pixar movie. So,
Mhm. So,
all right, now that our listeners have left,
well,
today's
so
episode is sponsored by Pops, the Aldi brand version of Poppy.
oh, didn't know this.
I figured you'd be interested in that.
Yeah. What flavor?
Raspberry rose. Rose?
Okay.
Rose.
I had
Raspberry?
one of those the other day, but it was, name brand
Yeah, you would.
Poppy.
I'm a Summit Beverages guy
Mhm.
myself these days.
Mm.
It is not very good because it has stevia. So,
Oh, yeah.
if you like stevia, it's like a Zevia mixed with Poppy.
But what's in the poppies?
I think pure cane sugar,
Is it? It's just a
but
small
just a
amount.
little, or like fruit
Mm.
juice. It's not like a lot,
Yeah.
or it might even be like sucralose or something. Anyways,
Mm.
you could definitely spot out some stevia in a
Mhm.
drink. It dries out my tongue,
Mm.
but it's okay enough. Way cheaper than poppies. These are like $1.
It's pretty cheap.
So
Might be worth it.
you might need to try it yourself. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
off track. Not really a sponsor.
I don't think we have to warn people that they're not a sponsor. I think people
Yeah.
know our current level of
Hey,
audience.
if you're trying to sponsor us, and you know some more people that can listen to our show, we kind of want sponsors so that their employees
Mhm.
can listen to our show, so that we
Yeah.
can have more people to watch our show.
Yeah, like if you're an executive at like I don't know, some, big company like the Buy and Large,
Yeah, or Costco.
change what you're doing immediately.
What are you doing sponsoring us? You're ruining the world. I hate Costco, by the way. I do.
Okay. Okay.
Too exclusive. At least Sam's Club lets you walk in. They don't have bouncers.
Mhm.
They'll let you walk in. You can't buy anything. You could buy pizza if you need to, but
Every now and then
uh,
they do, they have someone by the door checking the membership card, but for the most part they're
yeah, but
like
they don't
it's
really
fine.
bounce you. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're mean at Costco.
Have you been bounced from Costco?
I have been bounced from Costco because I thought we were allowed to like browse because I was going off of
Mhm.
Sam's Club rules and I was bored one day and I went to the Costco. I was trying to kill some time,
Mhm.
I guess in Nashville or something. And then I went to a Costco a couple years ago and they were like, "Dude, you can't even get in here.
Hmm.
What are you worried about the club? You can't even get it in."
Mm.
So yeah, I was like, I've been excluded a lot in my life and I don't need this in my life. So get out. I don't need your $1.50 hot dog. So Costco is out. Sam's
Out.
Club is in.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will go there if there's a zombie apocalypse because zombies can't get in without a membership. So, and there's food.
It's a pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip.
Do you think this is Pixar's best movie? Just
Dude,
jump into it.
ah,
This is for those that are
no.
listening. This is the only Pixar movie that is part of the Criterion collection.
Is it really?
Yes. And that was
Not,
mainly like I listened to an interview with the director Andrew Stanton, and he
yeah,
kind of said like he lobbied for it, like just that was just his own pride thing, like he wanted
yeah,
his own movie in the Criterion collection.
fair.
But this movie,
I would say it's better than Toy Story.
yeah, I mean objectively, I think so.
Yeah,
Sentimentally, I don't think I could say that, but
yeah.
um, this movie I think has aged really well
Yeah,
over
especially
time.
now with the AI stuff
Mhm.
taking over and I've been on a cruise ship now, so
In space?
no,
Would you go on a cruise in space?
I don't think so. I think I'm very scared of space. I've seen Apollo 13. I've seen The Martian.
They made it out.
Yeah, but at what cost?
I think that this has a really high letterbox score. I think this movie is a lot of like film bros like favorite Pixar movie.
I can
And
see that.
and for sure, like it is deserving of it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Um I mean, just like the way for like a kids movie, you know, family film, I mean, there's hardly any dialogue for like the first half hour at least. Um and it kind of feels like it should have been like it was the idea for like a short film or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like the idea had enough legs to carry like an entire feature. Like when I was rewatching it, I was like, Is this gonna like am I gonna get bored like halfway through or anything like that?" And like no, like for the most part, you're like in it for the whole movie.
Hmm.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but
It is more immersive than most movies.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like you're supposed to be like another robot just following
Mhm.
Wally around. You are like Bernie. Or no, Mo. Not Bernie. Mo. Mo. Um
Is
or
Mo which one is Mo?
or are you a cockroach?
Mm. That's one
Mo
thing
is
I
the one that's
remember.
on the ship that's like foreign contaminate.
The
Foreign
vacuum cleaner,
contaminant.
right?
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. He was like one of
He's
my
Jacques the
favorites.
prawn. Jacques the shrimp.
Mm.
He's filthy. um
Like it feels like the first 20 or 30 minutes could just be its own self-contained thing.
yeah.
Kind of like the beginning of Up is, you know,
Right.
like the
Which
first
came
10
out.
minutes or whatever. But then it just keeps going. And then you see the bigger picture. I don't know.
Right. It's like out of this world, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that we wanted to cover this movie was we intended to record this episode a lot sooner because we wanted this to be a Valentine's Day episode.
And now it's February 25th.
So this will
Let's get it out
definitely
in February. Come on.
this will be
Let's
a
do it.
March release for sure at this
Ah,
point.
okay. You could do it.
But we were trying to think of like good Valentine's Day movies. We're like, you know what? Actually, Wally would be pretty good.
It would. It's a good love story. It's Wally shows so much persistence and
Mhm.
so much like yearning for a human life.
Mhm.
It's like he's like um not he's either been there so long that he's developed emotions and a personality
Mhm.
or I don't know, maybe that's the life that
Mhm.
keeps him going cuz he's got something to live for.
Yeah.
Is cracking open a cold one after work and watching a whole movie,
Yeah. I think
finagling
the way he
all
takes
the
off his like
knickknacks and such.
the way he like takes off his shoes when he comes inside,
Yeah.
like you know, his tracks, he just like hangs them up by the
That's one of the
entrance.
best scenes for me. I love it
Oh
so
yeah.
much. Like it's kind of like this is where I'm mostly immersed, like what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Is cuz he starts this movie, Hello Dolly, which I found out I never watched Hello Dolly
Mhm.
until I've seen this movie. And that Put On Your Sunday Clothes song
Mhm.
always going on up here. Let me tell you
Always.
what. Always.
Just like Wally.
Yeah. Um yeah, just like Wally. But anyways, it like shows that he's watching through this whole movie, but it like shows you parts of the movie. Like he's
Mhm.
watching it and doing other stuff, but like he's just chilling, and it like time passes by
Mhm.
so fast, but it's dragged out so long. Like you feel like you're there, and you
Yeah.
haven't been paying attention to the movie, and then you look up and it's almost over.
Mhm.
Um,
I feel like
Kind of like the Earth itself at this point.
I feel like speaking of time, like one of the things that like really struck me the first time I watched it was just like you see him like compacting all the trash and like stacking the
Yeah,
cubes, and then it
and then you
zooms out.
realize
It's
there's
like the end of the
skyscrapers
day.
of it.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
like, how long has he been here? He's just
hey,
like been building all these like skyscrapers of trash.
who built the pyramids?
Wally.
Wally did. Yeah, that was a very depressing part.
Just seeing like
Was
his
there an Easter?
loneliness like on Earth.
Yeah, and just seeing like how much the Earth is trashed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It made me really think about environmentalism as
Mhm.
a sixth grader for the first time, maybe. So, I guess that's their
Yeah.
agenda they wanted to put in for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I listened. So this week, after I watched the movie, I basically just typed in the director's name into like the podcast app on Apple and just like listened to like all the interviews I could find of him, like
Okay.
like interviews he did on podcasts. And he talked a little bit about that. You know, people talked about the messaging, how it was like a little bit ahead of its time, um, with just like kind of the anti-consumerism and also the
Yes.
environmentalism and things like that. And he kind of said like he doesn't like being like preached to personally. Like he likes to let the audience do the legwork as far as like figuring out
Right.
the themes and things like that. But he doesn't like it to be super over the top or I don't know, on the nose kind of. But he kind of approached it more of like this isn't the themes I'm trying to convey. It was more of like the story of like, okay, the original pitch for this movie was what if like all the humans left Earth and they forgot to turn off the last robot.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of this backwards thinking of like, okay, like what would cause everyone to have to leave or like to die or, you know, how, whatever happens, you know? And he just
The
started
pizza
thinking
stopped
about it.
growing out of the ground.
Yeah. He just started thinking about, you know, what would happen. And so I guess that was just like his idea of that, I don't know, of
Okay.
explaining that situation. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm going into it with this agenda. But he did say he was like, Pixar used to be like owned by Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was like, he talked about, you know, he had like one of the first iPhones before anyone had it with
Oh.
Amazon. With like Amazon, he had like, he was like, like the one click, you know, purchase. Like his family was doing that as soon as that feature was there. He was always having boxes showing up at his house. And it just
Yeah.
started thinking like, where does all this garbage go, you know? So I don't
True.
know. I think it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like
I
a
think
take on
about that all the
Amazon,
time.
Apple. Certainly in 2008, there was definitely a lot of talk about environmentalism. I'm pretty sure that's when that like global warming just like was invented. No, I'm just kidding, but that's when
No,
like
it
everyone
wasn't.
started talking about it.
Yeah. Climate change was a big deal.
Hmm.
That's the term
Yeah.
in '08. Um, yeah, no, there's definitely this is the most Apple Pixar movie that there
Hmm.
is. Hence the actual Mac
Hmm.
boot setup on
Yeah.
Eve.
Yeah.
Hence also my coffee cup, Magic Mouse 2. This is Eve. Like Eve is a Magic Mouse too,
Yeah.
if you can't tell.
Yeah.
I love it. Um,
It looks like her hand, like before it like folds out into
yeah,
fingers, you know?
they should come out with a new mouse.
And Wally's just trying to pry that hand. He's
I'm glad this isn't on. But yeah, I remember cracking up at the Mac boot a
Mhm.
bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's very nostalgic. I also super love the sound design.
Yeah. We
Um,
can talk about sound here.
okay, you got it. You got it.
Well,
Every
so,
time there's a behind the scenes section on Foley, I'm just a sucker for it. I have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my favorite job in movies. If I wasn't like directing or acting, I would be a Foley artist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not smart enough to be a composer. I'm no Thomas Newman. Okay.
But you can like shuffle across the floor trying to pick up, record footstep sounds and things like that.
Dude, I would love that. Get creative.
Bite into carrots into a microphone. Get a nice crunch sound.
That was a mechanical horse. It's true.
Sounded like it. So did you watch some behind the scenes then about the Foley and stuff?
I did a little bit. Very cool. Isn't the guy that did Star Wars like the best sound design guy?
Yeah. The guy you're referring to is Ben Burt, okay?
Ben Burt.
If you don't know his name, commit it to memory, okay? Ben Burt is the man when it comes to sound design. This movie has
He's the guy that figured out the slinky stuff, right?
With like the sound of like a blaster.
Yeah.
And like the lightsaber.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a genius.
Every sound in Star Wars, like he's pretty much responsible for. And also specifically like all the sound effects for R2-D2.
Okay.
So obviously he was not Kenny Baker that was like inside the robot, on set.
Because he's been Burt.
Because he's been Burt.
Yeah.
So you remember his name. So I think Andrew Stanton was talking about like, I don't know, he was talking about comparing things of like the sound design in other movies, and like he wanted him to be like R2-D2, and then someone was just like, well, why don't we just get the guy that did R2-D2? And he's like, we can do that? Like, and so like,
yeah, it's Disney.
Yeah. So they're
Disney
just like, yeah, let's get him.
Right.
So he provided all the sound for like Wall-E, and then also was like the supervising sound editor for the movie.
Yeah.
So he normally does like all the Lucasfilm, a lot of Spielberg stuff, a lot of the major hits.
Yeah.
He did sound for. And yeah, I did think, especially because there's not a lot of dialogue, like that first 30 minutes, like it's just all Foley, like sound effects and all that stuff.
Yeah. Pretty good. It's very intense. Very like 20 minutes of it first is like no talking, at least.
For the most part, yeah. I don't think it's
That's
like
good
30 minutes
right
in.
There. I'm impressed with that.
Yeah. And you're hooked too.
What's your favorite part of the movie? Like, what's the best section, like the act of it? Because depressingly enough, I actually think the beginning is part of my favorite.
I think that is the best part of the movie. I think where my attention starts to wane a little bit is when they get to the cruise ship and there's kind of the plot of like, that they've got the plant, but then it's like missing, and like the autopilot is trying to hide it from the actual like captain of the ship and stuff. But
I did like to see the captain like grow into his captaincy. Captaincy?
Yeah.
Captaincy. Captaincy?
I thought you were saying captain seat.
Captain C.
The captain.
That's got to be a thing.
Jeff Garlin.
Yeah, Jeff Garlin. Anyways. Also in a Toy Story movie, Toy Story 3 and 4.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. Most known for Daddy Daycare, though.
In our hearts, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I definitely like the beginning. It kind of reminds me of like, it's a little bit of like the beginning of like Force Awakens, where you see like Rey, she's kind of like going out like scavenging, coming back to her like abandoned like crashed ship or something that she lives in, and she's just kind of like makes a meal at the end of the day, that sort of thing. But that's just like one day, she's been there a while. She hasn't been there hundreds of years.
Yeah, 700 years is like a lot. Like Wall-E is falling apart throughout this whole movie, yet he persists.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was
noble
thinking
about this guy.
I kept thinking like, because he has to like change out parts that like wear out over time. And I'm like, at a certain point, like, he's collecting and he finds, different eyes and new tracks when they
Which
get
is kind of weird when you think about it. He's like
He's collecting
harvesting
body parts.
organs from but
But that was like
he is a robot or robot, if you will.
mm. Yeah, that
But
was
that
just one of the
was
thoughts I had was just like, oh, what happens when he like runs out, you know?
I don't know.
I don't know what his skills are.
We'll have to see in Wall-E 2.
I guess so. What did you think about the use of live action in this movie?
Creepy, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It was so weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
And with it being Hello Dolly and the music being amazing,
Mm-hmm.
um, it made me want to look into it and actually watch that movie. I was just random one day a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
before I really even got into musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, "What is that movie?" And I googled it, and it was Hello Dolly, and I watched it. And it's not amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a '60s musical with what's her name, Barbara Streisand.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace.
Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau, and there's some very sexist song that he sings. It's really funny. Um,
Yeah, I've not seen it.
but yeah,
I feel
it's
like
good.
I've seen it because I've seen Wall-E, but
Right. Put on your Sunday clothes. There's lots of world
we heard the best song
out there. Yeah.
I really like the Louis Armstrong song that's in this.
Yeah.
It's kind of cliche, but it's just kind of the montage of like Wally trying to impress Eve and hold her hand.
Yeah. Is that also sort of, I want to say that, of like our world songs being in a Pixar movie? Is this the first instance of that, as well as the live action? Because there's like Randy Newman sings and he writes songs for like
Yeah,
Toy Story, but I
this is
can't
the first. I'm
remember.
pretty sure this is the first time because actually the director kind of talked about this. It was like the first time they had to go like license clips or like footage from
Okay.
other things,
Yeah.
specifically with Hello Dolly. And he was like, "Oh man, why didn't I pick like something that was owned by Disney because it was like a Fox movie,
Oh, okay.
which now Disney owns Fox." But
Yeah, that's what I was confused because
yeah,
I watched it on Disney Plus. So
but it was like a whole thing of like they were trying to get like access to the rights to be able to feature it in the movie, and
Mhm.
the only reason they were able to do it was because like the CFO of Pixar used to work for Fox, and so they had like a connection there. He basically is just like, "Hey, can you ask them to like, you know,
yeah,
just let us use it? You're not doing anything with it right now, you know. It'll help you, it'll help us, you know."
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think other than like they've commissioned songs to be like original songs for the movies, they haven't like licensed songs to be
yeah.
used in. And
No, Cars, Life is a Highway. Most all of them were soundtracks. The year 2 years before this, 3
okay,
years. That's right.
were those written for the movie?
No, Life is a Highway. No,
Well, that's a cover, yeah.
although Brad Paisley, Behind the Clouds, that was a Cars. A couple of them were
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
for
like
that movie, like Real Gone, Show Crow. I don't know.
the
Fun
end.
fact, you were there, but me and Abby were like announced at our wedding and a reception to Real Gone.
Oh yeah, save that
Forgot
for the
about that.
Cars episode.
Okay, fine.
Um, Finding Nemo had a song at the end too. Now that I think about it, like Beyond the Sea song at the end.
Somewhere.
I think
That,
it
yeah,
was a
you're right.
cover,
Okay,
but yeah.
they're doing covers, and they
So
got like
at least like having footage from the movie, like that's the first time they'd ever done that for sure, though.
yeah. I gotta know this because like Rascal Flats did a cover, but was it for Cars? Yeah, no, that version is from Cars. That's
Mhm.
crazy. I feel like it was there a long time.
Well, I know they put it on an album, but I
Yeah,
figured it was after the movie came out.
probably. It's a better one.
Mhm. I
We'll
know you're
save
a
it for
Rascal
Cars.
Flatts fan, so
I am a Rascal Flatts guy.
I heard they had a new song.
They did.
What'd you think?
No comment. It's good. It's fine. Moving on. It's with the Jonas Brothers. What the heck? Jonas Brothers ruining it.
Mm.
I like the Jonas Brothers. I can't dog them either, but
I thought you did.
they did not mesh musically. So that's all I can say.
All right.
Okay. Cast. This is not a casted movie, really. There's like 4 characters, and 2 of them don't have lines very much.
Yeah. So we've got Sigourney Weaver is the voice of the computer of the ship.
Oh, interesting. Because she's also in Finding Dory as the voice of the aquarium in Finding Dory.
I forgot about that.
Pixar theory.
Wow, it's all connected.
I hate that thing.
You got Jeff Garlin as the ship captain.
Yep.
John Ratzenberger, he's in every Pixar movie. He's one of the overweight guests on the ship.
We call them guests. Can't really.
We don't have to comment on the
they all look. No, it's just like they all look the same. So why that would not differentiate anything from other people.
Which guest
he's
are
the
you
fat
talking
one.
The big guy.
John and Mary. Oh, what? The most basic names?
Yeah. They're like the two that just like Wally somehow brings together by like turning off their screens. And they've just like, we're perfect for each other.
Yeah. Turn off your screens, people, after this episode.
Right, yeah.
Unplug yourself.
So there's like the anti-consumerism, there's like the environmentalism, then there's just the overconsumption of just like screen time.
We don't need another Stanley water bottle. Stop drinking water if you're gonna be buying stuff like that. Good night. As I drink out of my coffee mug. Yeah,
I was
this movie's a little scary with the AI stuff too. Everything's so relevant, especially like today. I feel like if you go on TikTok right now, anti-consumerism is a big thing. Cleaning up is a big thing. There's that one lady that's like, yeah. And then, AI is taking over everything. I use AI all the time. But it's just, is it too late? That's the question. But I'm optimistic, even if it is too late, because it's not. Because, in the words of Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way.
It always does.
But I mean, Wally was the very last life form besides the cockroach. So
I always did like that. How people have always talked about. I don't know where this originated, but people like the only things that are gonna like survive a nuclear blast are cockroaches and Twinkies, and they had both in this movie.
Yeah,
like
I want to know. You know how the Pixar does like the Easter eggs from other movies, like the whole Pixar theory suggests like it's a real thing. Maybe I'm hallucinating this, but was there a cube that Wally made that was compacted trash from Monsters Inc. that had like the eye of Boo's costume?
Oh,
that would have been a perfect one.
It looked like that. I don't remember that specifically though.
Okay, I need to find this out. I saw Ham. Let's just talk about Easter eggs. I saw Ham on his shelf.
Wait, hold up. We're not at Cinematic Eats yet.
No, not Ham. Ham the piggy bank from Toy Story. Silly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Easter eggs in Wally. Wally Easter eggs, huh? Oh yeah, the Pizza Planet truck.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was trashed.
The
That one gets
captain
old
like
after
gives
a
an
while.
order to like the A113.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't pay attention to the one that like hints the next movie.
Okay. Which was Ratatouille?
No, that would have been Up.
It would have been Up. Okay.
Okay, so the Easter egg, it was in Wally's ship where or his house, you know, where he had all his
Yeah.
junk, you know, saved.
Bachelor pad.
Right, yeah. This is very obscure, but it's like, you know, that like what's the old guy's name in Up? Is it
Carl.
Carl or Carl? He's got like the walker with the tennis balls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like upside down, like
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
the back of a shot, and you can see
Okay.
like the tennis balls, and
That's a
that's like
good one.
that's hinting towards the next one.
They all need to be a little bit like we don't know what it is yet, so
Mm-hmm.
but the ones from the past are obvious.
Yeah.
Usually. That's cool. That's cool. Fred Willard in this movie. You might know him from what, like Pitch Perfect or something? I don't know.
he's in a lot.
Anchorman.
he is
He
the
recently
only.
died, right? This past year.
He may have.
I thought so. No, he died in 2020. These years are just flying by. Let me tell you what.
He's the only actor, like live action actor, to have dialogue in a Pixar movie.
Yeah,
that's the fun fact for him.
That's cool.
The president of. He
Oh,
okay, is he the president of the world or just the by and large? Because he has this like presidential address.
we're getting into the oligarchy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Too controversial for this time.
I just felt like it reminded me a lot of Idiocracy, if you've seen that movie. But
oh yeah, I have not.
That's another movie that's aged unfortunately well.
Yeah. I think basically, yep, very blurred vision there, but it was their ships getting rid of the trash because it was their fault, you know, and
yeah,
so they're just that popular. Like everything was owned by them. Like they took over the world pretty much at that point. So probably an oligarchy type thing. So, but we are a slave to consumerism these days. So it could be where we're headed. Stay tuned, America. Stay tuned, world.
Do you know how long it was before they just like between broadcasts where it's like, you guys have fun on your ship, we're gonna clean up while you're gone, before he's just like, we messed up,
yeah,
we can't do it.
Well, because like how old was he? I thought it was
know.
like 100 years, but it wasn't. It was supposed to be a 5-year cruise,
and so it turned into like 700 or something.
Yeah, and then he was like, that was like 700 years ago. So it was like,
yeah,
after the 5-year cruise, they gave up. So, like, you ready to come back? No, not quite yet.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and there could be more than that cruise out there.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that after the fact. Was there like more ships, or was just like that's everyone that's left is on this ship?
Maybe. That's just the city.
And there's just so many generations that like they've just been born. Like they don't even know anything different.
Yeah.
They don't even like know why they're there.
700 years? That's at least. Mm-hmm. Well, it looked like the captains, there's like 10 captains. Mm-hmm. Or 16 captains.
Right, yeah. It showed them.
So like
getting a little bit wider over time.
Yeah, and then more and less like more animated too, which is kind of interesting. That's a part of the Pixar theory. I think Wally is very centered around the Pixar theory. Like that's the
I think
thing that
that's a yeah.
is a talking point for it. Like us humans, it connects our world
Yeah.
to the Pixar world, and we just turn animated with all these microplastics. Let me tell you what.
Um, in one of the well, actually, not an interview. In an article I looked up, I was curious about why the artistic choice to have like live action actors mixed in with this, and it kind of came to the
My
point.
can I guess?
Sure, go for
My
it.
guess would be that to enforce the
Wrong.
message,
No.
to enforce the message and emphasize the message to us, and like to where we can latch on, like, oh, they're humans. This is a real possibility. This isn't just a cartoon I'm watching.
Yeah.
Moving on. What's the real answer?
I think that's part of it. Basically, they just wanted to commit it to like make it feel real. Like you wanted Wally to feel like a real, robot that was on actual Earth that was, doing this job. And they also they didn't feel confident in their ability to like animate humans in CGI. Because that's always been like that's kind of why the early movies like they didn't have a lot of people in them, because they like it was easier to animate toys with like a hard reflective surface and things like that. And so they just weren't like confident in their ability to like animate the humans and to make it look that great. So in order to like commit to the realism, they decided to go for that and just shoot it with like in the past it's like real actors and stuff, but obviously everything else is CG. But
okay,
anyway,
gotcha.
I was just curious about why they made that choice, but that's why.
Yeah, it's a weird one. There's very few movies that blend those two.
Now, what I want to know is when I saw all these like guests on the cruise ship, that let's face it, have put on a few pounds. I was reminded of these astronauts that have been in space for like 8 months. That are still up there.
They're still up there.
I want to know what they're going to look like when they come back.
Probably, I don't know. Surely they have enough rations and stuff. Didn't Elon send some nutty buddies up there for him or something?
They sent some stuff. I actually Googled it earlier. They've been growing lettuce up there, but
really?
not to eat. It's more of just like a, science
Fun
experiment.
Fact. Yeah. That's cool.
But yeah, they went up there 8 months ago and they were supposed to be up there a week. And then they found out there was like a problem with like the ship. And so they sent it back. They weren't sure about the safety. So they sent the ship back unmanned.
Wow. Okay.
And then they sent another ship up with 2 astronauts. And then they're up in the International Space Station now as we speak.
Dude, they're making history right now.
And then they're gonna ride back with them when they're done.
Okay.
But this like 1 week has turned into like 8 or 9 months.
That's crazy.
They're supposed to come back next month, is what I was looking at. But
dude, if that were me, I'd never go back to space. I'm bored. I'd get bored of the vast space.
Yeah,
man.
They haven't walked in like 8 months.
Not with gravity.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's doing to their muscles.
Yeah. That's the thing. They probably
have
aren't
like exercise equipment up there.
Yeah, I would think you would lose weight.
Yeah,
rather than gain weight.
They're eating like healthy ish.
I guess
freeze dried ice cream. That's all they have up there. That's all
they
sell at the NASA gift shop.
I guess in Wall-E they talked about like, oh, there's a regenerative buffet. So I didn't know what that meant. Like, does that mean like they're like growing food on there? Like, how do they not run out of supplies? It was a 5-year thing.
It seems like they're also inventing new robots out of nowhere. Like with what resources?
Yeah.
Because Eve definitely looks like a further couple hundred years of technology advancement.
Yeah.
To Wall-E.
She's got the new car smell still.
Yeah. But where are they getting those resources from?
Mm.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They stop at ports. I want to know how much the drink package is on that.
Yeah, if someone offered a space cruise now, I would say no.
Right.
But if it was like 500 years in the future and I was somehow still alive and it was a more common thing, I might
Well, if you were
consider it.
500 years old, you'd be like, frick it, why not?
If it's my time, it's my time.
If it was 100 years from now, you'd be like, all right, fine. If it was 50 years from now, you might be fine.
Yep. That's true.
That's crazy though about the they're stuck in space still. Like I didn't even really
I was
read
just kind
into
of
it as much.
I don't really know how far you can dig into it, but I was just kind of thinking about it's crazy. I know you're a man of genealogy, that you enjoy that, you know. And I was just thinking of like the decisions that like generations like hundreds of years ago can like affect you today.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, oh, the previous generations that were on Earth that like didn't take care of it.
Crazy
And now
butterfly
you're in
effect.
space. But also there's just like, you know, yeah, just like even the generations of like while you're on the ship, that's 700 years, you know?
And people were talking about that 6-month cruise. So, and also 700 years, like 700 years ago for us, our language like changed dramatically. English, like, so I'm surprised that they're maybe just an overlook on them because they're doing a kids movie and that doesn't really matter as much, but it's a Criterion collection, so we're going to hold it up to a standard. I feel like the English language should have evolved a little bit, but
evolved or devolved?
Yeah, that's a good point. Both.
Yeah, nobody once on the ship said skibbity toilet riz.
That got me. That was good. Oh. Yeah. What are they on? Gin?
Yeah.
Triple Z?
Yeah, they came back to it.
Yeah.
I guess just like going back to Wally, he's kind of a Paddington character a little bit.
A little bit.
That he like kind of improves, like he influences others for the better. And what's kind of the interesting idea, I guess, with him is like he spent all this time on Earth on his own, consuming like I guess just Hello Dolly the musical, and that's it. And like learn, but like almost becoming like developing a personality.
Yeah.
Becoming more human than even the people that are on
from the artifacts
the ship
of humans.
And it's like he is the key to like them regaining their humanity.
Yeah.
Even though he's not human. I thought that was
he's
like
more
a big
human
idea.
than the humans.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow.
I also know that they're just gonna have like a really hard time when they get back. Like they go back. They've got like one boot with like a little sprout popping up.
They're gonna get so sunburned.
But they're just ready. Like, you know, maybe they're not ready, but
it was
just
really
so tired,
sweet seeing them like,
you know?
walk and like just give up that sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool.
You mentioned like seeing like the captain grow, you know, into that, and it was like, it's like, we're not made to just like sit around and just consume and stare at screens and not do anything, just have a life of pure like leisure. Like there's like a sense of work we have to like embrace in life, you know?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jonathan. We just got breaking news. This just in on Inside Quotes. They cast John Lithgow as Dumbledore in the new HBO series.
I saw an interview where he confirmed that.
Lord Farquaad is Dumbledore. What's going on?
Lord Farquaad.
Oh no, that's a risk I'm
he
willing
huffed and
to
he puffed
take.
and he Sign the eviction notice.
I also heard that they're in talks of casting Cillian Murphy for. We're doing a little housekeeping of inside quotes right now.
For Snape?
For
not
Voldemort.
Snape. Voldemort.
And they interviewed Ray Fiennes about like his opinion on it.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, I'll watch it. He'll do a great job, I'm sure." So that's good. He'll do a good job for sure, but I'm scared they're making all these decisions right now.
I haven't loved the casting announcements and rumors that I've seen.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know. I'd like to see official announcements, but I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. I'm not going to really like the direction of the this reboot.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel bad that I don't, but whatever.
I'm going to
start. There's not been a good like they're all really good, all these series that are extra Disney Plus. Like they're all good. But like I think they peaked at Stranger Things. We've got Severance right now, so that's good. But like all these new era TV shows,
well,
are not hitting it for me.
So I feel like I'm going to say the same thing that our dad said about John Lithgow in The Crown.
Yes,
he talks about it. Our dad is a big World War II history
huge
buff.
Winston Churchill guy.
Yeah, big fan of Winston Churchill. And he talks every time we talk about The Crown, he always mentions like, and then they had John Lithgow as like Winston Churchill, which was just like such a weird choice.
Yeah,
he's so tall. Winston Churchill was not that tall. He said that one time.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
But then he was like, it's like he did a good job, but it was just so weird. I don't know.
You know what? Actually,
and I feel like that's exactly what I'm going to say about him as Dumbledore.
Okay. Well, to be fair, now that I think about him in The Crown, he has the British accent down. Mm-hmm. He could probably do it. Mm-hmm. It'll just be a different Dumbledore than we're used to. And, not even book accurate. So we're okay. I'm just going to let it happen and not get too mad. Yeah. Take what we can get, I guess. Okay, so before we go back into it, I have one more thing. Remember when I was talking about how much more advanced she is than Wally? Mm-hmm. You especially notice that? I noticed this past watch through is whenever she asks for his name, he's all like, Wally. Mm-hmm. And then she immediately repeats it after him, like, Wally. That was like a way of knowing, like, obviously she looks and has more power and whatever as a robot than he does. But I just thought it was cool. She like did it better and more efficiently and quicker than Wally did. And it's Wally's name. Mm-hmm. So, and Wally's had 700 years to figure out his own name. Mm-hmm. Anyways,
maybe she just read his name tag.
That's possible. But no, she asked what his name was.
Yes, true.
But Jonathan, do you have a Muppet for this week?
I do have a Muppet of the week.
Okay.
Kind of. There's a whole spread in here on the romance of Kermit and Miss Piggy, since this is our Valentine's Day special.
Aww. This is the one.
So here we go.
Okay. I don't find Wally and Eve to be the Kermit and Piggy. They seem like they would get dinner together on a double date, but go ahead.
I mean, I think they're, well, I don't know. I was going to say they're probably a healthier couple than Kermit and Piggy, but then like Eve was just like blasting at him,
She's playing hard to get.
She's pretty tough. Yeah, she was. All right. The romance of Kermit and Miss Piggy, one of the most enduring romances of our time. For decades, the determined diva has relentlessly pursued her beloved frog through thick and thin. And for decades, the frog has kept himself fit by always remaining a few hops ahead of her. On their first date, dramatized in the Muppet movie, Kermit treated Miss Piggy to a romantic dinner for two and a cheap bottle of wine. Should be for 95
95
cents.
cents. Classic.
They had an instant bond for Miss Piggy. It was love at first sight. During a Glee Club performance, she locked eyes on Kermit, and she hasn't let go since. She's
I think
persistent.
I've actually seen that episode of The Muppet Show.
After several fictional weddings, Miss Piggy still lives in hopes of the real thing. She carries a marriage license in her purse in case of emergency.
They're not even married yet. They were married in Christmas Carol, but that was just acting.
Kermit does have feelings for Piggy, but he just wants to keep his personal life private. So, I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway, it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Gotta admit it, Kermit got that steez.
Got that steez, Piggy.
Okay, I've got a prop of the week.
Okay.
It's time for the prop of the week. Clearly, I think it's gotta be the plant.
That was my first choice in the boot, yeah.
Plant in the boot, yeah. That'd be a good one to have.
I had a couple other things I wrote down, though.
Okay.
As just, I like the lunchbox that he has at the beginning.
Ooh, yeah.
Large lunchbox.
That's a good one.
Also, I just like his whole TV setup here. Because let's just follow me here. He's got Hello Dolly on a VHS tape.
Yep.
That then plays on an iPod screen. That then he uses a magnifying glass to enhance.
It's pretty sick, actually.
So I don't know. I think that's a cool setup.
Another Mac or Apple product.
Yeah.
No wonder I like this movie.
But yeah, the boot with the plant is definitely the one.
Yeah. Do we have any cinematic eats?
I just wrote down the Twinkie.
Yeah. Pizza. The lunch in a cup. That's probably mine.
Do we see that?
No, but it's a more of a concept.
True.
That sells you lunch.
They're all just drinking like big gulps, essentially.
Yeah. I vote lunch in a cup.
What was the size of the soda that they were selling in like Parks and Rec that they were like trying to get banned?
Oh, the Punch Burger.
Yeah.
Soda tax. People call it a gallon, but they call it the regular. Yeah. What a good show. Oh, I forgot. We're not even doing our back burners anymore, so I'll save it for the next one. But Ron Swanson was in The Founder, another movie that I watched for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and it was very interesting.
Hey, a little sneak peek at the Patreon bonus content.
If you want to be a part of our patrons and become a part of the staple crew, every week me and Jonathan go over our back burners, and which is basically the movies we've watched this week or the month, and we just talk about the movies we watched lately and our suggestions for the week. So if you're interested in that, sign up. It's only $3 a month, less than a cup of coffee. And we would really appreciate that. So do it.
Jeremy, what's your Letterboxd score for this movie?
Okay. At least a 4.5. At this point, it might be a 5.
Yeah.
I fear it's a 5 at this point. What are you thinking?
I think I'm kind of at the same place, a 4.5. Like for me, it's not a 5-star.
Okay.
Like I feel like it is deserving of that.
Yeah.
But it's aged very well. It's an excellent movie.
I'm sticking to the 4.5.
It doesn't stick with me as some of the other Pixar movies though. But it is like, this is definitely like top tier Pixar for sure.
Yeah.
I just for whatever reason I can't give it like the full 5 on this one. And maybe I'm
Okay.
partial to the quotes in movies, and this doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but
Yeah.
I still love
Well,
it.
sometimes this movie kind of feels like it drags a little bit on the ship scene,
I
and
think it
that's
does near the end a little bit. Yeah.
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 But there's always something to pick on
Mhm.
in any movie. But I'm still gonna stick with a 4.5.
Mhm. And I think that's consistent with um I think I gave Finding Nemo a 4.5 just because I thought Dory was kind of annoying at times.
Yeah. Okay.
But like both are like I feel like they're both of those movies are the connection there is Andrew Stanton is the director.
Yes.
On
And
those two.
Thomas Newman
Thomas Newman. Yeah, we didn't talk too much
is
about the
the
score,
yeah.
but yeah, excellent soundtrack in this. It's not just the Hello Dolly song. Like the music is really good.
No,
Thomas Newman is one of the best for
he's
sure.
one of the goats for sure.
But yeah, I'm sticking 4.5 on
Four
this
and a
one.
half's good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick with that. Okay. Well, I think that's about all we've got right now.
Does this movie put you to sleep?
It could.
Mm-hmm.
All the sounds and stuff really make me calm.
I feel like it could be a good comfort watch, like at night.
Except for like some of the ship scenes, like the blasting scenes and the rockets. But other than that, the music is great. Like I would probably listen to the soundtrack to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm too busy listening to Joe Pera talks you to sleep, drifting off of Joe Pera.
Me too.
Podcast.
Me too.
Dude, season 2, if you have trouble sleeping, go listen to that podcast after you finish our podcast. Because I genuinely have not made it past an episode.
Yeah.
And it's this season, these 2 episodes of season 2 so far, they do one a month, and I listened to the same 2 for the past 2 weeks, every single night for the past 2 weeks. And I have no idea what they're about.
It's good.
It's magic.
I don't listen every night, but I do every now and then when I feel like I need a little help winding down.
I listen to it until I remember what it's about. And then I move on to the next episode. Anyways, Jonathan, thanks for making me a part of this. That's going to be my new closing.
Any final thoughts here on WALL-E before we wrap it up, Jeremy?
Do not buy and large. Save the planet. Life will find a way, so stay optimistic and enjoy the cruise.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Absolutely. Our show art was done by Bryce Bridgman, and you can find him on Instagram at GroovyBridge.
Sure can.
Our music was done by Alex Bird.
And you can find us on Instagram at Inside Quotes Cast. But yeah, if you're not a fan of Instagram, then yeah, we're on another little site called YouTube. You could be watching this episode here. Just go to the Inside Quotes channel.
Yeah.
Got full show video over there. And Jeremy's been making some pretty cool thumbnails now. So
yeah,
it's just a matter of time before we pop off.
Share it with the friends. We're putting some more effort into it now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that pays off. But
yep.
We love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks for making me a part of this. And until next time, we'll see you on Inside Quotes.
See ya.